Good
Hey, hey,
afternoon, Willie. How
hey,
are you?
hey, Jimmy, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm just another Friday. And I know everybody else got a weekend, and well, I got my Saturdays back, so that's great. So tonight I go to
Good.
work. I have the whole day off tomorrow. I can live stream if I want to. I can watch the Secret Show if I want to. Mm-hmm.
Very, very nice.
Yep.
Glad you got your Saturdays back. That's fucking awesome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Cool. Cool.
It's like a nice little reward for the usual shitty weeks I have at work these days. Well, you know
Aww.
what? I'm forcing myself to stream a little bit more. So, that's I just can't allow myself to go dormant and fade on into nothing. All this work.
Okay.
Yeah. So, how
What's
about
up,
yourself?
Ward? Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I've just been streaming and gaming and man, lots of gaming. I've gotten introduced to a couple of new games and it's just over for me. It's been over. I've like I got introduced to Sons of the Forest this week, which is like an open world survival cannibal kind of video game.
Hmm.
And so I decided to start my own little server and make it super friendly to where there's no cannibals or anything that can like hurt me. And I have been camping for the last 3 days. I am stoked. Like it's been fun. I've been out foraging and gathering and building and oh, it's just been so much fun in the game. I've been having a blast. So yeah.
Well, speaking of camping, I'm going to probably do some real life camping this summer. I haven't been camping in years. Some friends of mine are saying, "Yeah, let's go camping." So,
Yeah. I was
yeah.
thinking about doing that this summer too. I haven't gone camping since I think it was like the summer before quarantine happened, the whole COVID thing happened. And I was going camping every summer before that, and I just haven't gone camping since. I was thinking about doing it this summer as well.
2011. No, it's
Oh my gosh.
2012, 2011, 2012, something like that.
Oh, it's been a long time for you. Holy crap.
Yeah, so went to Jordan last time. I went to Jordan Lake, which is outside of Raleigh, and it's a nice little area. I had to be discreet about the alcohol because of the park rangers out there. But
Mm,
I can be a well behaved lush when I want to be.
okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
like to go I like to get stoned when I'm camping. I used to be a drinker in camping, but getting stoned is a lot more fun because you get to just chill and relax and enjoy and not turn into a crazy person.
Why not do both? Because back in the day, I did both.
Oh, I can't mix the two. Give me the willies. Give me the wobblies.
Oh, that's okay. Well, is that? Yeah, I use that term occasionally, so it's okay. No offense taken. Looks like we
Okay.
have Warren. And it looks like we have Rick on the chat line here.
Yeah, yeah, they're cute. So better be good. I'm missing diagnosis murder for this. And then Rick says, diagnosis murder is on, damn it. Where's my VCR?
Hmm,
Taking me
You know,
back. Nostalgia.
I almost missed the VCR, and I'm missing. Well, and we're getting to a point where we're going to be missing DVDs. I don't
Yeah.
believe in the streaming things that people are doing these days because that's just a glorified version of renting.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely get it. I only have one and it's Peacock, and the only reason why I have it is because my Instacart lets me have it a year for free because I pay for my Instacart. So I was like, free Peacock, I'll take it.
I own one movie that's streamed, and I lost the password for it. So,
Okay.
on Amazon. But then again, should I be shopping at Amazon?
Right, right. I've only ever bought one movie streaming, and I only did it just to feel like a rebel. It was that Kim Jong Un North Korean movie with those two really funny dudes, and like China was like hacking into like they were saying that China was hacking into like the movie studio system or something like that, and that if we bought the movie that like China was gonna know where we are and shit. So I went and bought that shit and streamed it from YouTube. They were streaming it on YouTube.
One thing I've never gotten about TikTok is that they said it endangers our national security. I just never saw how it endangers our national security, even if China is what people claim it is.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. Most of the stuff, the data and things like that could possibly go to China, but China doesn't even have TikTok in their own country. They have a whole completely different thing, and it's like way more regulated than ours is here in America. Like they only get a certain amount of time they're allowed on their social media sites per day, and that's it. Like the government will shut those things, like your access, off to them. So it's America just trying to fearmonger us and put some more fears into us so we don't think that, they're trying to screw us over in some way, shape, or form. Plus, a lot of stuff is like a lot of the youth is really starting to understand the corruption and the deviation and all that stuff that the government in America is doing through TikTok. So I think that they're seeing it as a national security threat to themselves.
Yeah. And America is keen on propaganda. They want to keep that. They want to keep the angle on it, and
Right.
and also, I for you a TikTok video. Speaking of TikTok, this young lady is talking about the white liberals.
Oh, is this the Twitter one that you just sent
Yeah,
me?
yeah, it was originally from TikTok, but it was forwarded on Twitter.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
We're white liberals. We say that we're not in a cult like MAGA, but then we'll dismiss any and all criticism of Joe Biden as Russian propaganda or voter suppression. We're white liberals. We use women's reproductive rights as a pawn, while ignoring that apparently the president can bypass Congress when it comes to funding a genocide, but not when it comes to codifying Roe v. Wade. We're white liberals. We'll bully you and say that if you vote for anyone besides Biden, that you're voting for Trump, instead of helping you organize and find a different candidate that isn't a dictator or a genocider. We're white liberals. We'll tokenize anyone from underrepresented groups who are in favor of Biden, while encouraging you to ignore and block anyone else who might speak out against him. We're white liberals. We'll try to scare you into voting blue by reminding you about Project 2025 and the threat of fascism under Trump. Even though people from underrepresented groups have told us that, despite its name, Project 2025 has been in motion since the 70s and 80s, and they already experienced fascism under Biden. We're white liberals. We'll gaslight others and ourselves into believing that life is significantly better under Biden, despite the fact that we're all struggling to feed our families and pay our bills. We're white liberals. We'll act as saviors to marginalized communities, but we'll also blame them if Biden loses and tell them they can deal with the consequences of that, usually in graphic detail. We're white liberals. We'll feign concern for Palestinians, but we won't actually watch the raw footage of them being attacked and unalived en masse. We're white liberals. We'll talk down to people of color and pretend like we know what's best for them, even though the wall's still being built and Cop City's still going up. We're white liberals. We'll watch tone-deaf Instagram posts made by our leaders and dismiss the thousands of comments streaming in, demanding a ceasefire, and just say that they're Russian bots. We're white liberals. We will talk over people in marginalized communities instead of listening to them and trusting their lived experiences. We're white liberals. We'll be recognized as Person of the Year for giving the economy a boost with their concert sales, while staying silent in the face of a genocide and actively destroying the environment with our private planes. We're white liberals. We like to say that we'll hold our own to account, but then we'll just ignore and justify it when our own leader is complicit in war crimes. We're white liberals. We'll put BLM in our bios while simultaneously condemning another country's resistance group that was born out of an unlawful and violent occupation.
I mean, she ain't lying.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And just I deal with people like that a whole lot. I deal with people like that a whole lot, and the hypocrite. They will lecture me as if I'm the problem sometimes, and and I'm just like I just get beside myself with I'm going to use the term shit lib mentality. She should have said shit libs, because that's what she just described right there.
She's very right. That was a good one. I haven't seen a political version of that. That's a trend that's going around on TikTok right now. But I've seen like we're siblings, and then it'll go off on different rants about, funny things about siblings or things like that. But I haven't seen a political one. So that was a pretty decent one. I like it.
Yeah. As I said, we're going to be dealing with a whole lot of this mindset. I will say probably after election day, the white liberal will sit. They're going to sit there, and if Trump is reelected, I'm I'm prepared for these people. They're going to lecture me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's
I
just
say, bring it on.
yeah, exactly. It's just a repeat of the last 8 fucking years. So I don't see any difference. God damn it.
Some people call it a Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. So you want to start with one of yours?
Oh, that was one of mine.
Okay. I thought that was just a fun little thing you wanted to do. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm good. I'm ready. All right. So this week, some exciting stuff happened, which was really funny to watch. And thank you to my friends who shared it to me, or else I wouldn't have known about it. Elmo decided to tweet out this week and ask everybody how they were doing. And the internet decided to trauma dump on poor little Elmo, which I thought was absolutely hilarious and really, really funny. So but Elmo went on to Today Show and talked about his experience of what had happened. Yeah.
That in just 3 short days has been viewed nearly 200 million times.
Of course, we're talking about our dear friend Elmo. He did something so sweet, and it sparked kind of an unexpected reaction online.
Well,
Unexpected.
we want Elmo to tell us what he learned from all this in a moment. But first, let's check out more on the post behind the frenzy.
Wow, Happy! That makes him want to dance!
An innocent post this week from one of Sesame Street's favorite furry friends has gone viral. Elmo wrote, "Elmo's just checking in. How's everybody doing?" With nearly 200 million views. Those kind, thoughtful 9 words touched a nerve.
These are all of Elmo's emotions.
Tens of thousands of users on X sharing with the 3-year-old Muppet how they're really feeling. Some saying the responses amount to a social media trauma dump. One response, "Not good, Elmo, not good." Another simply said, "Elmo, we are tired." Another writing, "Elmo, girl, I'm having a quarter-life crisis right now, and I can't get my stuff together to finish this last semester. I'm mentally burned out, and I have a lifetime of working to go." One tweet expressing, "Elmo was just checking in. He didn't ask for all this."
La 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 la, Elmo song.
That may be so, but Elmo took to social media to respond, saying, "Wow, Elmo's glad he asked. Elmo learned that it is important to ask a friend how they're doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you." Hashtag emotional well-being. Celebrities including Dionne Warwick, T-Pain, Rachel Ziegler, and Garfield sending Elmo responses. Even the president weighing in, tweeting, "I know how hard it is some days to sweep the clouds away and get to sunnier days," adding, "Even though it's hard, you are never alone." And our own Craig Melvin sent this message. "Thanks for checking in, Elmo. Mondays are hard. Hope you're doing great. Be sure to check on Oscar. He always seems to be in a mood." All right, so we're so happy because look who's here.
Hi, guys.
Elmo and his dad made the trip from Sesame Street. Elmo?
Good morning.
Good morning. You asked everybody how they're doing. So how about today we turn the tables? How are you doing?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Well, Elmo's really, really happy. And Elmo's glad that he got to talk to a lot of people and see how they're doing.
Louie, were you surprised that Elmo, tweeted that, asking how people were, and you got so many views, 180 million plus, and people really, I guess they told the truth, how they were feeling, good or bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of people expressing a lot of feelings out there. Gave me some goosebumps, I'll tell you that. So many people willing to just let my boy know what's really going on inside.
My question is really quick is how long has it been since Elmo had a dad that appeared on Sesame Street? Because I grew up where he didn't have, I don't think any of the Sesame Street kids had parents around.
Well, I mean, I know who Elmo is, but when I was watching Sesame Street as a kid, there was no Elmo back then. I don't recall an Elmo back then.
You're aging yourself now. No.
Well, when
my kid was watching Elmo, like, I don't remember there being an Elmo dad. This dad guy is definitely, I mean, after at least 2005, because my oldest was obsessed with Elmo.
But you know what? I see the resemblance.
I mean, of course they have to. It's a puppet. So but I'm just totally shocked. I was when I saw that when I was going and looking up the videos and stuff for this thing, I was like, wait, Elmo has a dad?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Apparently he's a
Daddy
chip off
helps
the
Elmo
old
with the
block.
Twitter with the because Elmo can't read.
Oh,
You're
you're
right.
only 3.
Yeah, I kind of run it for him. He's
Yeah,
only
okay.
3.5.
Oh, yeah.
Fingers
Right.
don't really
Is
know the
Elmo
letters that
bald?
good
And
yet.
he's big. He needs a social media manager.
Yeah.
But
he
it's
is.
amazing. He can't read, but the grammar is always perfect.
Well, Elmo tries.
Yeah.
Elmo, you obviously got a lot of responses from people that are like overwhelmed, that are dealing with a lot in
Yeah.
life. What does Elmo do when Elmo's overwhelmed and Elmo's dealing with a lot?
Well, it's important to remember that we all have a lot of feelings, and that's okay. It's good to know what feeling you're having, and if you're feeling sad or worried or confused, that you can talk to someone that you love and trust, and it's good to talk about it.
I know that your dad read you a lot of those tweets.
Yeah.
So which ones, Elmo, stood out to you? What did you see and go, wow, that was cool?
But there were so many.
Yeah.
That was a
That how you
present.
do
That's
it.
right. I don't think down to 11.
Yeah. Well, Louis, you guys put the hashtag emotional well-being,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's just a matter of maybe you can't fix the problem, but just asking and knowing that someone cares, don't you think?
Well, emotional well-being, that's kind of the key. It's as important as your physical health. So learning what feelings you have inside and how to name them and healthy ways to express them, well, that's just part of living. Nowadays, you got to get it out.
Yes. Elmo, you know what this tells me? It tells me that people feel so comfortable and close to you that they can tell you all of the things that are bothering them.
No,
Well,
And you're
I think she's a liar. I think we were all just waiting for somebody to ask how we were doing so we can all trauma dump on one person single-handedly. We did the same thing with fucking Steve too, from Blue's Clues when he came back. We all fucking trauma dumped on him as well. We all yelled at him for coming back and apologizing and shit, and how much we missed him and he did us dirty by leaving us and stuff. And now we do the same. It's not we feel close to them. It's just it's what the internet does. I thought I'm not gonna watch the rest of it because I don't think I need to get some kind of mental health help from a puppet. But
I almost forgot about Blue's Clues.
yeah, remember when Steve came back and we trauma dumped on that motherfucker? Poor guy. He's
Yeah.
still on TikTok doing the same thing. He's still like, "How you doing?" And he'll just sit there and not say anything and just, if you want to talk, you could talk to your phone if you want. I mean, whatever. Trauma dump on your phone for all I care. But yeah, no, he's still out there doing it. So.
But you know what? I can't make shoe on head talk here.
No, you can't make shoe on head talk.
Yeah.
I can't believe you have a shoe on head stuffy.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just saw that when she advertised. I was like, I'm going to buy one of these. I think it'll be a collector's item one day.
You are wild. You are absolutely wild. Jeez.
Yeah. When I saw that, it's like, let me grab my plushie.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm having old memories of Sesame Street now. When I was a kid, but you know what? This is how weird I am. My parents, God bless them, they just thought in the 1970s that Sesame Street was too wild. They did let me watch a little bit of it, but I had a little more exposure to Mr. Rogers.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
They really thought that Sesame Street was too wild.
Yeah, I mean they're well-meaning, but they're a little old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, I guess it was just, I mean, they're not like reactionary or anything, but they're just kind of set in their ways.
Right. No, it makes sense. Sense. That sucks, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready for your next one?
Let's see. I believe that I am. Let's see. We'll go with let's go with the Cornell West announcement, the press release.
Okay.
Yeah, once it's on the screen, I can go ahead and let's see. Let me get mine ready over here. Redirecting. Okay, I guess I'll get started. For immediate release, Wednesday, January 31st, 2024, Cornell West for president. In an effort to directly confront the suppression of voter choice and participation by legacy political parties. Independent candidate for president of the United States, Cornel West, announced the establishment of a Justice for All party. The party will primarily utilize as a grassroots people power vehicle to secure ballot access in specific states. Additionally, JFA, not the punk band Jodie Foster Army, but JFA, that's Justice for All Party, will grow into a larger formation that galvanizes people, power initiatives to promote transformational change beyond the 2024 election cycle. And I mean, and I could read more, but basically, Cornel West is forming a new political party, and I mean, I'm not going to wish bad luck on it, this project, but well, I guess I can read the rest of it. Dr. West noted the announcement of JFA is both a celebration on the power of the grassroots organizing as well as a proclamation to direct duopoly that the era of corporate political parties is coming to a precious and welcome end. He added JFA's first and foremost provides a mechanism for our grassroots campaign to travel a path at least resistance that will require fewer numbers of signatures to obtain ballot access in states like North Carolina, Florida, and Washington. The campaign acknowledges unique political climates of each state and respects the decision-making power of the movement in guiding the party's formation. At the same time, we're establishing a political organizing home for candidates running for office at all levels of government, as well as everyday folk ready to take on a myriad system of oppression that prey on the poor and working class nationwide. JFA builds off of the foundations and traditions of grassroots political parties like Lowndes County Freedom Organization, founded under the leadership of Ella Baker, Kwame Ture, and John Hurlett, and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party under the leadership of the civil rights titans like Fannie Lou Hamer, the legendary Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Both were formed in part to confront racism, classism, and voter suppression of corporate political parties that ignored the immediate needs of the poor and the working class people and their calls for mutual justice. We stand on shoulder to shoulder with freedom fighters like Martin Luther King, Joshua Abraham Herschel, Dorothy Day, and many others who dared to bear witness to an iniquitous political system and directly confront it. West emphasized JFA takes an inspiration from these amazing souls and sage words of Sister Ella Baker, who reminded us we're not fighting for freedom of Black folk alone, but for the freedom and human spirits that encompasses us all. That is the essence of the new political formation that strives to deliver truth, love, and justice for all. And anyway, so any thoughts on this this political party that Cornel West decided to create all of a sudden?
What is my opinion on it?
Yeah.
I think it's either gonna be a decent party in 8 years, or he's building something that he's going to pass away and never see come to fruition, and it's probably going to die out once he passes away.
I sadly think the latter. And in my opinion, I think what happened with what I like Cornel West. And if he's on the ballot, I'm ready to vote for him. I mean, the politics that he has is, it's basically more or less along the lines of what I think. However, with Cornel West, he decided to run initially with the People's Party. Then he decided to become a Green Party member. Then he decided, or seek the nomination of the Green Party, rather. And then run as an independent. And then now he's deciding to form a Justice for All party. Why not just go back to the People's Party? That's the big question right there. I mean,
because of the guy that's running it, I wouldn't go back to it because of
him.
Nick
Broniff. That's right.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that I mean, he's gonna sound flaky running from one campaign label to another. He should
Of
have
course.
stuck with one, and
Yeah. He's already done that. Yeah.
and the resources. I mean, running as an independent requires a hell of a lot more resources than running under a political party banner. But I have I have one conspiracy theory is that maybe Jimmy Dore's right that he's running a weak campaign on purpose to not to not be blamed if Trump gets back into the White House. I think
that's a little far fetched.
Well, I mean, he's on the ballot right now only in Alaska and what's it, Oregon, where it's like fairly easy to be on the ballot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
but I don't think he's purposely doing a weak campaign because he doesn't want to be blamed for Trump. I think him jumping from party to party and now starting this, he's probably going to start realizing that there's not going to be really much of a campaign where he's going to see himself winning. And it's probably better to leave his legacy with a new party to leave behind instead.
Maybe. I just think that I mean, there's like too many third parties on the left. They're kind of competing this year, and I would love to have a multitude of third parties, but I just think that the left kind of needs to unite behind someone outside of the Democratic Party and kind of be a little more cohesive and a little more disciplined in the next election cycle. I just, and Cornel West, I think it was a mistake for him, in my opinion, to go and do this on his own. And I think he should have sought the Green Party nomination.
Yeah. But I mean, it's already too late. There's nothing we can really do about it now. I think that it's all right. This is a good mission statement for a new party. I'm excited to see, what comes of it. But yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And I don't think his candidacy for office is gonna go much of anywhere. But at least he's out there trying. I'll give him that.
Well, take it from somebody that's worked in third parties, all kinds of third parties in the past 30 years. They're all dysfunctional, and especially if you're creating one out of scratch. I mean, people don't know dysfunctionality until they go into third parties. They will know what dysfunction is. Sometimes charming, sometimes it's frustrating.
Yeah, I completely agree. I agree.
So. But anyway, I wish him luck. That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that this party, becomes a good one and not, like you were just saying, a disorganized mess like all the rest of them. So.
Yeah. So, I guess we should probably go on with the next story.
All right. So, this week, Nancy Pelosi decided to, I don't know, show her age, I guess, and how much she shouldn't probably be in office or anything except for maybe retired at home for the rest of her life. Two different things happened at different times this week, but pretty much because of the same situation that is going on overseas in Israel. So here's one of the videos where Nancy Pelosi was being interviewed. And what she has to say about the protesters asking for a ceasefire.
How concerned are you, especially given the fact that we have seen protesters over and over and over at his events? How concerned are you that young people, Arab Americans, progressives, I'm not suggesting that they're going to go vote for Donald Trump, but how concerned are you that they might just stay home?
Well, let me just say this, because I've been the recipient of their, shall we say, exuberances in this regard as recently as in Seattle on Thursday, unfortunately, wanted to disrupt our very exciting democratic meeting there. They're in front of my house all the time. So I have a feeling for what feelings they have. But we have to think about what we're doing. And what we have to do is try to stop the suffering in Gaza. This is women and children, people who don't have a place to go. So let's address that. But for them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message. Mr. Putin's message. Make no
I don't understand how she can put the suffering of Gazans and doing a ceasefire is Putin's message in the same fucking sentence. To me, that's absolutely nuts. She sits there and says that these protesters are outside of her house all the time and she can empathize with them, but we have to think. What are they not thinking? Is that what you're saying? Is your constituents aren't thinking?
Well, let me put it this way. If Putin supports a ceasefire in Gaza, that makes him a better person than Nancy Pelosi.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's crazy to me how that's what her thought process is she sees these people not wanting to see Gazans suffer anymore than they already have, and she says that she empathizes with them, but they have to think, and so to end the suffering of Gazans, we can't end the ceasefire. Like, it just somebody had said something about like the mental gymnastics are absolutely just right in front of your face and they're insane.
Well, I think I know I could explain it. What's going on with Democrats that should know better on this issue. Not only is Biden in danger of losing the Arab votes in places like Michigan, where it's critical, the Democrats are worried about losing the Jewish vote because most Jewish people, just like African Americans, vote for the Democrats. And I think that they're going out of their way, and which is insulting to the Jewish community in a lot of ways, because not everybody in the Jewish community is going to think the same. Just like nobody in any marginalized group is going to think the same they're not all going to be a monolith. And, and frankly, I just think that that's what it comes down to. It's pandering.
Yeah. And she was saying something about like, in here, I think if it goes on even further, I actually can play it here.
Mistake. This is directly connected to what he would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia. And I say that having looked at this for a long time now. As you know,
think some of these protests are Russian plants?
I say they're plants. I think some financing should be investigated. And I want to ask the FBI to investigate that. But apart from that, let's just say it's all spontaneous and sincere. Let's say it's all spontaneous and sincere. Young people care about the right to choose. They care about LGBTQ issues. They care about preserving the planet. They care about gun violence prevention. That's what they tell us. They care about our democracy and the freedoms that are contained in some of what I said. So they're going to have to make a decision, staying home to enable or to organize, not agonize, but organize and get out there and get the job. I have every confidence that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be president, vice president of the United States. I know we will carry the House. I'm confident that we can improve our numbers in the Senate, and we can do it because we're going to own the ground with our organizing. We're going to have a message.
So not only is she saying that these protesters outside of her house are funded by Russia, but she's also saying that she wants to waste more money on FBI looking into these protesters outside of her house to see whether or not they are Russians. Just so we know, one of our fellow progressive friends, Pat Cody, who lives out there, is one of the protesters that are outside of Nancy Pelosi's house. So just hearing her say that, and then not only saying that, but then saying that it's going to be the youth's fault if they don't go and vote, because that's going to make Trump president if they don't vote. Like it's so we already like that. There's a prequel to what we're going to be hearing later on this year when Trump wins, because Trump is going to fucking win. We already fucking know this stupid shit. I don't even know why we're sitting here arguing about this stuff and even trying, because Biden hasn't, and won't, and neither will the Democratic Party do anything to give us any other or give Democrats any other option than some dying old shriveled up warmonger. So anyway, Trump's going to win. We're going to end up obviously going to be blamed for it again this year, just like we have for the last 8 years.
Yeah. You hear the interview with Jen Psaki had with James Carville recently?
No.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. I got a video I'm going to be discussing in a couple of days on it in reserve. But basically, he said, "Wait, Hillary, Bernie Sanders hurt Hillary Clinton." I mean, it was like I don't want to sound like I'm still continually white knighting Bernie Sanders, but I'm using his name because Bernie Sanders' name is a way to smear the entire left. Even those on the left that don't support him anymore, and that's what it comes down to. And so, when you had Nancy Pelosi agreeing with Glenn Beck 10 years ago, when Glenn Beck was doing a lot of Putin bashing himself, that's not a very good place to be. And you're right. Trump is likely to win this election. I live in a red state. I can vote third party. It's not going to, I mean, my vote and my vote's not going to count for jack shit. It never does in North Carolina. And they're going to blame Putin. They're going to blame Robert F. Kennedy, Cornel West, Jill Stein, and for old time's sake, to reminisce about the recent past, they'll blame the Bernie Bros.
Oh yeah, of course. We're all going to get blamed again. So here's more of her cognitive dissonance in full swing. So we just saw her obviously blaming all those protesters outside of her house on Russia. So here's I'm not going to play the whole fucking thing because it's Fox News and I really don't want to watch Fox News, but they were the only people that had like where you can hear the shit that she was saying. So here's her coming outside of her house with the protesters there talking about doing a ceasefire. As you can see, this was Code Pink did this. So Code Pink, we know, are progressives, that old lady, whatever, Medea or something like that. You're gonna see, you're gonna see some pink hats in here, obviously. So these are her Russian spies that she calls them. But it's really funny to hear what she has to say with this one as well. And just to mention, just because I'm really like advocating for the hatred. Well, I'm advocating for Taylor Swift because there's so much hatred for her. For anybody who hates Taylor or who hates Nancy Pelosi but loves 49ers, she's wearing a 49ers thing, just so everybody knows. Losers. Anyway, okay, here.
Most of your constituents want
Okay, just really quick, that little flip of the finger, the get away. Like, how fucking privileged do you have to be? You're sitting there worth millions of dollars doing so much horrible shit with our country and overseas and stuff. And a couple of people are, messing with you a little bit, and that's your little action. Get away from me. Oh, I hate that elitist privilege actions.
genocide. Stop the Holocaust. The Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire.
Right here.
The Democrats
Right there. You hear her?
Want the ceasefire.
It's so hard to hear. So her right there, when she right before the lady closed the door said, "Go." Nancy Pelosi told these protesters to go back to China where your headquarters are. That's what she said. So here, I'll play it one more time so y'all can hear this bitch.
Want the ceasefire.
See, go back to China where your headquarters is. So, not only is she a dirty warmongering little piece of shit, but also at the same time, her cognitive dissonance, because she's so old and can't even think straight. She's going to go on television, blame all those protesters on Russia and financing of Russia, and then change it to China now, apparently. Just one really quick thing. I hate it. I swear I'm not an ageist or something, but having all these really old people in politics and having them in office still with like that Cold War mentality, Red Scare bullshit, like it drives me absolutely insane. And I'm really getting sick and tired of it.
I wish she will retire so she can go back to her fucking estate in San Francisco where she can go to her oversized of those $12,000 refrigerators, and she can stuff her fucking face with those expensive chocolates like she did on TV a couple of years ago. Remember that?
Yep. With those ice creams, the tubs of ice creams.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like cheap ice cream. That's expensive ass ice cream.
I mean, I'm not going to fault her for the expensive ice cream. That's probably the best thing about her.
It's just the eliteness. That's what drives me nuts about it. It's like, bitch, there's people out here, like, and you're like talking about with your refrigerator. Yeah. I mean, her smugness, telling people they're from China. Oh, it drives me crazy.
There was a time in the 1990s she was kind of viewed in the same way AOC was viewed, I would say roughly from 2018 to 2020 as this extreme left-wing rebel rouser. And then Nancy Pelosi became the establishment. And we can see what's happening with AOC. AOC is evolving there too in that regard.
Yeah, it's definitely happening the same way. But I thought everybody would like, I know it's already been talked about this week. I just thought it was pretty interesting to see, her choice of
I'm glad these protesters are ruining these people's days. When the people who go and protest against Nancy Pelosi or protest against Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, or what's his name, Mark Preissner from that's Abby Martin's husband, shouting down George W. Bush. A couple of years ago. This is what is needed, to make these people, like AOC said, make them feel uncomfortable. I'm talking about 2018 AOC, not the AOC of today.
Right. No, I completely agree. All right. So are you ready for your next one?
Yeah. See, I think I am. This is from PRM Politics. He's not a really well-known streamer, but he talks about, I like what he has to say about the real reason why Taylor Swift is the problem, and let's go ahead and play that one.
Oh, you are so gonna hate me right now. Okay, let me get it up.
Wingers are losing their minds over Taylor Swift. And it's just for reasons that are manufactured. They feel really manufactured. It feels like they're really just trying to be outraged at something. And you know what? There are things to be outraged about Taylor Swift. My main gripe of Taylor Swift, it's probably one of my only ones, is that she's a billionaire. And I think she's like 30 years old, somewhere in there. And she's a billionaire. And we all know that nobody becomes a billionaire without exploiting labor, exploiting resources, exploitation in general. If anyone becomes a billionaire, it's not because of a product that they had, okay? People had to make billionaires money. They had labor and resources in capitalist exploitation. And the people who can engineer it make billionaires. Okay. But this isn't the critique coming from the right wing at all. They're mad because she's signing up young women to vote for the Democrats. And they're even calling it like a psyop and all sorts of conspiracy nonsense, because that's what the right wing does all day. They throw conspiracies against the wall, whatever sticks, they run with it on their propaganda. And that's the right-wing media experience. That's nothing new. That's just not new information at all. So the right-wing critiques are just really unhinged and stupid and everything I expect from the right-wing media space. And it's completely devoid of class consciousness, which is the only way, in my view, to critique Taylor Swift. They always miss the point. See, the right wing is for billionaires. They are for the oligarchy. They are for the billionaire class, but it's only billionaires they like. Like Elon Musk, they love that billionaire. Mark Zuckerberg, they don't like that billionaire. The Koch brothers, they like those billionaires. They don't like George Soros. Okay, so there are Democrats and Republicans that are billionaires, and they're just partisan. Because one is Democrat and one is Republican. That's their critique of the billionaire class. You're a billionaire that's on my political team. You're a billionaire who's not on my political team. It's that vapid. It's that vacant of substance. And none of them, out of all the outrage I see, and I see endless outrage about Taylor Swift anytime I turn on any media anywhere, none of it talks about her being a billionaire and talking about exploitation and talking about the billionaire class need reined in or anything we progressives understand about billionaires. None of the critique is on class. It's just that she's a billionaire that they don't like. Billionaires are fine. Oligarchy is great. It's everything I expect from media, but still, it needs called out. Call her out for who she is. She's a part of the crooked establishment who benefits from the establishment in grotesque ways through capitalist exploitation. And that's the only way to critique this person. Not because she's a woman, not because she's young, not because she's dating a football player. Like they're critiquing her on everything except the real problem. Hey, man, you care about Taylor Swift and do a video about Taylor Swift? That's something. I couldn't name a Taylor Swift song. I couldn't name a lyric. I only care that this person is a billionaire, and this person should not be a billionaire, nor should George Soros, nor should Mark Zuckerberg, nor should Elon Musk, the Koch brothers. Literally every billionaire should not be a billionaire. We don't need an oligarchy to erode and corrupt our democracy. That's not the case. But that's what we want as democracy-loving people. We don't want the ruling class over, like stymieing our votes for their needs, and because their money can buy literally anything, including politicians. We don't want these people in society. We don't want them to be this wealthy. Tax them out of existence. That's what I say. It's just, back in the old days, they used to pop out the guillotine. Okay. I'm saying, let's not do that. I'm saying, yes, these people shouldn't exist as billionaires. See, I'm a centrist sometimes. Keep them alive. Don't do anything stupid. Just tax them out of existence. That's what we need to do. We shouldn't be cheerleading them for the exploitation that they're able to accomplish because, they've enriched your life with music and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. I love music. There's musicians I absolutely adore. And it's just, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, how they make you feel and enrich your life. But being a billionaire is a whole other problem. And no one's looking at Taylor Swift and her real problem of her being a billionaire. You won't find the critique anywhere. You might find it in progressive media spaces. You will not find it in right-wing media spaces. You will not find it in corporate media spaces. The real problem with Taylor Swift, which is her being a billionaire.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
What is your thought on this? I'm curious.
Well, I agree with him on basically everything, but I would say that, and this is not to attack her, but I would not recognize a Taylor Swift song if it smacked me beside the head either. Anything recorded after the year 2000 is new music to me. There's that. I agree, never trust a billionaire. And here's the thing. There's always the corporate Democrats and standard Republicans, and Donald Trump is doing the same thing as the standard Republicans by attacking elitism without offering solutions. And there's that. And she's part of the elite, just like everybody else. But apparently she triggers the right wing, which I have no problem with. For example, Bridget Gabriel, who's one of those right-wing evangelical Christians type, just out of the blue said, "Why isn't she condemning the Hamas attacks on Israel a couple of months ago?" Why signal Taylor Swift? What does Taylor Swift have to do with what's going on between Israel and Gaza, for example. I mean, and so she has become the scapegoat of the right in this country. And yeah, I just, and it's just crazy. We have so many problems, and the right wing think Taylor Swift is a problem.
I agree. I think it's stupid that right wingers hate Taylor Swift, but a lot of the country right wingers haven't liked Taylor Swift ever since she left country and did pop music in the late 2000s. So it's been an ongoing battle between her and right wingers. Even a few years ago when she got a bunch of people to sign up for the Democratic Party. She's a milquetoast, regular American who signs up as a Democrat, like just like Beyonce and all the rest of them. I don't think that it's a psyop that, the government is going to be using her to get people to join the Democratic Party, because she's already been doing that. And of course, because she has so much fame and notoriety, Biden administration is going to use her for concerts and publicity and stuff, just like Hillary did with Beyonce. It's just what politicians do and always have done and always probably will do, because that's just, we fucking live in a fucking clown world. I understand his argument about billionaires not existing. I understand that part. I think this is one thing that bugs me about you commies, is you blame the person. So like, I get it, you want to blame Elon or, these CEOs and stuff, but I mean, Taylor Swift is a music artist, might be an owner of a couple of things here and there on the side, but she was under contract through Scooter Braun for a really long time and wouldn't even give her the rights to her own music. He actually stopped her from being able to perform her own songs because they were in an argument. She had to re-record every single one of her songs from all of her tracks so she can own her own music, and did a tour, and just recently this year did an Eras tour. And because she fought for herself and for her rights for her own music that she wrote herself and beat Scooter Braun and all of this and did a tour, she went from being a millionaire to a billionaire. I don't think that it's her fault that she is a billionaire. I think that if we were to blame anyone, let's blame the companies. Let's say she's performing at a stadium where the stadium doesn't, pay their employees a good living wage. Why are we blaming Taylor Swift for that when all she wants to do is go to, I don't know, fucking Massachusetts in some town to perform in that stadium for her fans? We're going to blame her for this? Like I just don't see how her doing all of this is her fault. Like that's the thing, like with commies, is like, y'all do this, like you do this thing where he's like, oh, he's rich now, so we can't like him now. Like what you got, like the same thing with Hassan Piker. Y'all do the same thing with Hassan Piker. He got like a $2 million house for his family. Like bro's been streaming online with nobody watching for years and years and years, and finally starts getting a following. Got a house in Beverly Hills, which a $2 million house in Beverly Hills is fucking cheap. Okay, that's like one of the lower grade houses out there, and but the commies go around and be like, well, we can't like him anymore now, and so because he's rich, and so you've just lost a really good ally. Like it's not just right wingers that do that kind of stuff. A lot of the left wingers and stuff like that, they all do it too. It's in the same book. But other than that, yeah, the Republicans are stupid. They're dumb. They're thinking this is psyop. It's stupid. It's dumb. But the commies need to chill out on blaming people for being rich.
Yeah, well, and it's the system itself. It's the system itself, and when it comes, I'll put my perspective when I say never trust a billionaire. And I mean that not necessarily toward her, but just in general. I do mean that.
Right.
Make that distinction there.
Yeah, and that's the part that like a lot of people don't realize is there's a bigger nuance, just like everything else. Like, yeah, of course, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are fucking evil ass people, and when it comes to taxing the shit out of them, or back in the day the guillotine, like cool, we know how they run. But Taylor Swift, really? The girl just like gave up so much of her own money to be able to pay her truckers a living wage while she's on tour out of her own pocket.
Yeah,
this year.
and individually, there are people who have been, wealthy that have some kind of a conscience. I mean, not that not that FDR was the greatest person ever to live, but the man who came from a position of privilege with pragmatic policies got us out of the Great Depression, which is why, as far as U.S. presidents are concerned, Franklin Roosevelt was probably the closest thing we had to a decent president in this country.
Right.
Not a saint by any stretch of the imagination, but
Right.
so sometimes the wealthy will surprise you for the better.
Sometimes, yeah. I hate blaming her for her making her money when it's Taylor Swift. I don't know. But yes, like what Cowboy Kitty says, if she endorses Biden, then she's part of the problem. She's already going to endorse Biden. We should already expect it. If she is the single-handedly the person that's going to get enough youth votes to get Biden to come, then expect Biden to win in this year instead of Trump, and then we'll have Trump in 4 years. Like that's, why are we all sitting here all pissed off about it? And she already has been part of the problem. We already know she's going to endorse Biden. We already know we're either going to get another 4 years of Biden, or we're going to get 8 years of Trump, and then or 4 years of Trump. Like, we already know what's going to happen. Why are we sitting here arguing about it?
What's really interesting is how both the right wing and the faux left will take a pop star or some kind of a celebrity and vilify that celebrity on the other side. Of course, Taylor Swift is the one to kick around by the right, but the false progressives will be, let me think, Ted Nugent, what's his name, Kid Rock, some of these folks that they,
True.
They go, well, I think Kid Rock is a grifter, actually. I've heard of his story of, how he's not really what he perceives himself to be. But Ted Nugent is an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the idolization. I can't handle the idolization anymore. I'm so over it.
Me too.
Man.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to idolize people is to
There you
be
go,
a
Rick.
poet.
There you go, Rick. That's a good one. Good criticism. How much carbon emission is she giving off flying her private jet? Thank you. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a great one to talk about with her. Not not just because she's a billionaire, or just because she's dating a guy from the Kansas City Chiefs, or just because she's bringing in people into the Democratic Party. We already know all this stuff. Like, let's do some legit ass criticisms of this girl.
Well, question for you, and I'm gonna do this in my spare time. What song should I listen to by her? Because I wouldn't recognize her music.
You want me to tell you one that you would recognize, or one that I like?
How about one that you will like?
I like Style. Style is a good one.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Style.
I'm not a big crazy Swiftie, but I do know her music.
Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't think you were a Taylor Swift fan anyway.
No.
I wouldn't have mistaken you for that.
No, that's way after I'm more of the old school, like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson era. A little old for Taylor Swift, but my kids love her, so I know some. But she's got good songs. She's very poppy, a lot of her music. I think a lot of reason why people like her music is because the pettiness of a lot of the things in there. Like, she's gone through breakups with very famous boys in her past, and whenever she goes through breakups, she writes songs about them. And it's very fun for these kids to kind of, get the dirt. It's kind of like how back in the day we would read, newspaper or magazine articles about the newest drama between Justin Timberlake and, I don't know, Britney Spears or whatever. These days it's in music. I mean, look what's going on with Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion going at each other through music too. So Taylor Swift just did it with the boys that she dated in Hollywood, and their fans fucking loved it. They absolutely love it. It's just very girl empowering, very little girl empowering, female empowering and stuff. It's good for the girls. It's very positive. She's a very positive idol, I guess you would call it.
Okay. All right. And I really am. I'm gonna check out Style by Taylor Swift.
I cannot even imagine you sitting there listening to Style by Taylor Swift.
Well, I'm gonna give it that old college try and see.
One that you might like, I think you might think is a little bit more fun. It's not as like, girly as style. Shake It Off. I think you might like that one. That's a good one.
Shake It Off. Okay.
Yep.
Haven't heard that one either. Shake It Off.
Shake It Off. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Jimmy has the finger on the pulse of Hollywood. I do. It's me. It's what I do to get myself away from being depressed about the world news. I get into like celebrity drama, so it's a nice little break from the constant overseas wars and bombs and death and everything that's going on, and starvation and austerity. So I read that Megan Thee Stallion talked shit about Nicki Minaj's husband, and Nicki Minaj made a shitty ass song about Megan Thee Stallion. It's fun.
Well, I will. Maybe I just remind me next week on our show what I think of Style and Shake It Off.
All right, you got it. I can't wait.
Okay. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to say what I think of Shake It Off and Style next week.
Okay. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about Shake It Off. You're probably going to be like, this is something that my parents would have listened to in the 1950s. It's very cute. You're going to like it. Okay. All right. Let's get on to the next thing. So crazy shit happened this week. This dude decided that I guess he's like some, I don't know, MAGA right-winger supporter or whatever, whose dad works for the Army Corps of Engineers or something like that, for the government, decided to decapitate his father, Woo! Yeah, exactly, Hirsch. All hail Queen Meg. Don't want to miss out on that. All hail Queen Meg. That's right. Decided to his dad's head and post a video of it for the entire world to see. And it stayed on for quite a while before Twitter took it down. And so he has been charged with murder. The shit was wild. I did not see the video. Everyone, don't think that I'm that much of a creep. I do want to if anybody has it, but I'm just kidding. All right, here we go.
A gruesome killing in Bucks County. A man was found decapitated in a home. Police took his son into custody 100 miles away, and they believe there was more to this murder than just a family grudge. Action News reporter Corey Davis is live in Middletown Township with more on this story, now gaining national attention, Corey.
Matt, good morning. This is a disturbing story, and I just spoke with one of the Middletown Township captains out here who tells me 32-year-old Justin Moan was arraigned by video. He faced a judge by video and was denied bail earlier this morning. We are right now here at the scene where he lived. This is the 100 block of Upper Orchard Drive in Middletown Township. Want to show you a new photo there that we have of Justin Moan. He is accused of not only beheading his father, but also posting the video of him committing the act to YouTube. Moan is facing first murder as well as another charge that includes abuse of a corpse. Take a look at this video, a map of where he was located. We're told that he was arrested at Fort Indian Gap in Lebanon County, about 100 miles away. There is a National Guard training base there. And on the base's website, it's referred to as America's busiest National Guard training center. It is unclear why Moan was in that area. Middletown Township Police say this took a collaborative effort to track him down.
I think the neighborhood can rest easy because I think they were a little uneasy for a while before they knew where the person of interest was.
So I'll walk you through this. This all started around 7 o'clock last night after a gruesome discovery inside the home along the 100 block of Upper Orchard Drive here in Middletown Township. Initial dispatch reports saying that a man in his 60s was found beheaded and covered in blood. Police have not released the name of that victim, but said the father and son lived inside the home. The YouTube video showing the decapitation was viewed at least 5,000 times before being taken down. In that video, Action News discovered that Moan referred to himself as a militia leader and called his father a traitor to the country for being a federal employee for 20 years. Moan spoke about President Joe Biden and threatened multiple federal agencies in that YouTube video. And also, too, we've learned through court documents that his preliminary hearing will be held next Thursday on February 8th. We will definitely stay on top of the latest developments over the course of the morning and have reached out to investigators about whether he could face additional charges. Reporting live here in Middletown Township, Corey Davis, Channel 6 Action News.
Middletown Township. Man, say that 5 times fast. I swear.
So basically, he decapitated his dad over political differences?
Mm-hmm. He thought his dad was a traitor to America because he was a government worker. I think he was one of those like anarchists, like right-wing loony anarchist crazy guys.
Well, I mean, I know I talk smack about the right wing. I can't think of anybody I want to impose harm on because I'm not that kind of a person. Unless I'm getting attacked or something. I mean, I don't think that having different political opinions should be the cause of your death.
I know, and your own kid too.
Yeah,
that's the worst part.
How low is it? Your dad raised you. He sacrificed for you. He fed you. He clothed you. He looked after you while you were growing up. Assuming his dad is a normal dad and didn't abuse the kid or what have you. We're gonna the assumption. How low is it to sit there and to do that? I mean, to do that to your parents or what have you. I mean, this is just worse than some back talking to your parents. I mean, it's just to sit there and to kill your parents who gave birth to you and reared you, raised you. I mean, damn. I mean, that's sad.
Yep. Oh, okay. So Hershey said you saw it wasn't as bad as a regular video. If that makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. So I guess it wasn't as bad as some of the normal beheading things that we've seen in the. Oh, well, hello. So this is the new one that's been coming up. This is the first time he's actually sat on my lap right now. I'm actually kind of shocked. Hi. I don't even have a name for this one. Sorry, this is new. I'm like, what's happening right now?
He looks cool.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a name yet. I love his meow. He has like the best meow ever. It's like a smoker's meow. All right, so you ready for your next one?
Yeah, we'll go with let's see.
The right-wing one?
Yeah, let's go with the right-wing victim
Okay. Yeah. So just to put into context for everybody in the audience, I actually got a little snippet from Philip DeFranco about this whole thing first. So that way everybody can kind of get an idea of the tweet that you're going to read.
Yeah, I'm just getting it set up right now.
I'm going to, no, go for it. I'm going to play the video so everybody can see what this is about.
Okay.
And then Satan was just the victim of a hate crime. And it's all connected to Michael Cassidy. He's a Navy Reserve veteran, a former congressional candidate from Mississippi. Just back in December, he saw something that got his blood boiling. A giant statue of Baphomet, the winged, goat-headed pagan god that was just chilling on the grounds of the Iowa State Capitol. Which, for some context here, this is something that the Satanic Temple does to protest religious displays. They're usually Christian ones that are in the public square. But they're also doing stuff like forming after-school Satan clubs in public schools where Christian clubs are present, handing out satanic coloring books in districts where evangelicals give kids Bibles, and all that while flying the satanic flag outside City Hall buildings that have a Christian flag. So the Iowa statue apparently came as a protest against state rules allowing religious displays in the Capitol during the holiday. With this, Governor Kim Reynolds saying while she personally objects to it, that is technically their First Amendment right. But Cassidy seemingly felt different, because one day he just marched up straight to the statue and, as he put it, pulled its head off. For the temple, saying that the statue was destroyed beyond repair. And then, according to Cassidy himself, he walked proudly over to the police station and informed them what he just did. With the cops initially just citing him for fourth-degree criminal mischief and releasing him. But then he went on a big old media tour, including to Fox News, and made it very clear that his motives were religious.
It offended me. It touched a nerve. It was, righteous indignation. I'd call it, Christian civil disobedience.
And so this week, Polk County prosecutors charged him under the state's hate crime statute, which means this is a crime that could land him in prison for up to 5 years. Right, and so after this news broke, we saw an avalanche of angry right-wing commentators jumping on this story, with one of the most viral responses coming from the activist account Libs of TikTok, who wrote, "Violent activists tore down dozens of statues, including Columbus, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington. None were held accountable or charged with a hate crime. Michael Cassidy knocks over a Satan statue made out of household items and gets charged with a hate crime. Welcome to America's America's two-tier justice system. The police state
Jeez.
made it clear who they worship. Wokeness and Satanism is the new religion. With then reply guy Elon Musk jumping in to ask, what has become of America? And to that, the answer from Satan's defenders is pretty clear, because the Satanic Temple has actually been formally recognized as a legitimate religion like any other by the federal government for several years now. So they argue that what Cassidy did is fundamentally different than what, let's say, BLM protesters did to some other statues. One targeted a religion, the other did not. And with that, you had Lucian Greaves, the temple's co-founder, telling CNN.
Well, they had prayer rallies. They protested us. They denigrated the local government for following the law and opening the public forum to all viewers. And they still felt the need to tear down the statues. It's cowardice dressed up as heroism. When politicians do this, and my understanding is that this is somebody running for public office, they're really yielding to the whims of an uncomprehending, undemocratic mob. And they don't have the spine to stand up for the values that they swore to uphold when they took an oath of office.
And so while we watch all this play out, I gotta ask, what are your thoughts about this? What are your thoughts regarding what Cassidy did? What are your thoughts regarding the charges, the potential jail time? What do you think's gonna happen? I'd love to hear from you. And then, may not know this, but Billy Joel and Syphilis have something in common. They have come back stronger than ever. With Billy releasing his first song in 30 years.
Sorry, I was all over here fucking spacing out with this cat. So, sorry. So there is at least the setting the ground for what you're talking about. So Satan has put up a Baphomet statue in this state house, I guess is where it was. And this guy who was super religious decided he's going to rip the head off of it. And now he's going to be charged with a hate crime, right?
Yeah. Well, and the way they're framing it is similar. It's kind of similar to, somebody burned a rainbow flag in Iowa or something and saying, well, you can burn the flag and get away with it, but you can't burn the rainbow flag and they'll charge you with a hate crime. It's
Right.
kind of like, no, the guy that stole the rainbow flag stole it from a very progressive church and then burned it. And he was in trouble because, he committed theft. I mean, you don't have a right to steal something and burn it, whatever it is. So
Well, probably the hate crime part was probably because you said he stole it from a church, right? I think that's the big difference between these two, especially like what Philip DeFranco was saying with the libs of TikTok, talking about how, Black Lives Matter could sit down or go around and take down statues of like George Washington and political figures who have racist history that is put up, compared to a religious thing that is put up in a state house. Why can the 10 Commandments be put up in the state house? Why is there prayer before meeting starts in state houses? Like, there's so much religious stuff that's allowed, but as soon as one that is opposite, it's not even opposite of that, man. People they take this Satanism thing so fucking seriously. Like, these people actually believe in fucking Satan. This shit is a fucking joke to you, or joke. I swear to God, these people are dumb. And so they get all serious about it and they take the head off and desecrate it, thinking they're not going to get charged with a hate crime. I'm sorry, but Satanism, even though it's a joke, it's a registered religion. It's a recognized religion. It has tax-freehood. So, haha, motherfuckers, you lost. So stop.
This is the result of the Christian right over the years, trying to encroach religion into the public sphere. It forced the court's hand to do a fairness doctrine of sorts for all religions, and this is just a blowback on them. It didn't have to be this way for them. If they would have left well enough alone and kept the separation of church and state going, you would not see this sort of thing. And even with Satanism in itself, they don't even understand that what it is, because there are, I would say, from what I observed, there's like two branches of it. There's the theological worship of the deity, the devil, but the majority of them are Anton LaVey, where it's basically a secular religion that they mock a religious service.
Right, because the thing is about this religion, about Satanism, is you need to believe that he's real. And only way to believe that Satan is real is to believe that God is real, because God invented Satan, or, you know, the people who invented God invented Satan. So you can't have one without the other. So if you don't believe in, if you don't believe in God, then you don't believe in Satan. So using Satan as like this idolistic figure against them is the joke about it. But the great thing about them too is they've used this status, this recognized religious status, to be able to give people the autonomy and the civil rights that they deserve through religion. There's people that I've read and heard upon in the last couple of years who were able to use Satanism as their religion to be able to get an abortion, because one of the rules in Satanism is bodily autonomy. So it's actually really fucking genius way for them to fight back against the powers that were already created against them. It's genius, and it's so funny to me when I see these politicians get so angry and religious about it, to the point where this guy literally took off the head of it. You know, these like Satanists are gonna start screaming from the, you know, top of the roofs, like, you messed with our statue, our holy statue, like it's a joke, but like they're gonna go over the top just to fuck with you. And now you've got a hate crime on you. Like, this is so stupid. And then go ahead and talk about this. This is even more wild to me.
Yeah, this is from Joshua Hames. My friend Dwight Welsh forwarded this on Twitter, and so it piqued my interest when reading about this. It says BML can burn the country down for months on end, but Christians will be punished to the fullest extent of the law for taking down Satan statues. This is the state of our country at the moment. Let's see, wickedness and violence is wink and nodded at while the zeal for Christ and hatred of Satan is despised and even prosecuted if possible. If this is true, and if Mike Cassidy gets anything beyond a slap on the wrist for this, it will be an incredible miscarriage of justice. If he's sentenced to anything beyond a fine, Christians all over the country should organize and protest. If Christians do not organize and peacefully protest and make a point of objecting to this unrighteous tyranny, it will prove that we are impotent. It will prove that we're just fine with the proverbial frog boiled to death by an ever-increasing tyrannical state. The regime hates everything that Cassidy stands for. They hate him for being a conservative. They hate him for being a white male. But more important of all that combined, they hate him for being a Christian. If Christians don't make it a stand soon and get serious about resisting government tyranny, our grandchildren will meet and worship in secret churches. I don't believe that's hyperbole. To stand up for freedom and to resist the wicked, unrighteous tyranny is to love your neighbor. For your neighbor will suffer infinitely more under a tyrannical regime than they will in a free state. Christians, we need to take this seriously. And you know what I got to say? 80% of the United States is Christian. I don't think the Christians are this persecuted group that they claim. That they see a persecution that's actually not there.
Yep, that's right.
And they confuse a handful of busybody Christians that want to infringe on people's rights, the religious right, which is a faction. It's not the entire Christian community of the United States. They're trying to infringe on the rights of other people. They claim that trying to stop them from being oppressive toward others is somehow persecution against them.
Yep. That victim mentality. The Christians are always being like that.
Mm-hmm. And so, it's crazy. And then anybody who's like a progressive Christian, they'll tell you they're not real Christians because obviously they think they got the lockdown on Christian theology.
Yes, absolutely. When they really, really don't. Absolutely don't.
Yeah. So, as I said, I see, I get so irritated. I've been irritated with this going back to the 1980s when I became politically aware of things, with the age of Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson and Jimmy Swaggart and, people like John Hagee still around today. So, just kind of like it's like the more times change, the more times remain the same. This is one of the reasons why I hate George W. Bush more than Donald Trump, because they used the religious right to do a lot of the culture war bullshit. And there was more culture war bullshit on the right during the Bush years than there is today. They advocate a lot of bad policies, MAGA and the Republicans in general, but it was actually worse during the Bush Cheney years, and people seem to have forgotten that. I mean, you got Ellen DeGeneres now hanging out with George W. Bush, who basically says she doesn't have a right to get married to the person she wants to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's always been like that. And here they go again. They're just not going to stop, and they're never going to get it. Never going to get it.
Nope, never will. And so just, yeah, it's crazy. I just, and this is a culture war thing. They want to distract you from low wages and no universal health care and all the economic misjustice against the American workers. They want to make you forget about these things and worry about whether a trans woman's using a bathroom or playing on a swim team.
Mm-hmm. I give everybody one cool little advice. I don't know, I can't remember the number, but it's like the mental health crisis hotline number where you can like call in for people that you think are having a mental health crisis. Keep that number on hand at all times in your phone or something like that. That way, when anytime somebody comes up to you, whether you're at a grocery store or just walking or wherever you are, and somebody says like, God bless you, or, you know, anything about God, you just call that number right in front of them and say that you think that somebody's having a mental health crisis right in front of them, and just, you know, make them think that you just slowly but surely start planting seeds in people's heads that come up to you like that, that they're just crazy. They have like this an imaginary person that they're talking to, and that imaginary person wants to tell you something. And I'm sorry, but I feel very, very, very not safe for my life right now in front of this person who has an imaginary person telling them things to tell me I am not safe. I do not feel safe. That's what I would start. That's what I'm gonna start doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's what it is. I mean, God, I get so tired of it. Like even stupid little things, like when somebody's accepting an award or something like that, they're just like, thank God. And I'm just like, it's imaginary.
I got fired on my 28th birthday on a job here in town on my 28th birthday for the lady that was my supervisor. She wanted to make me go to her church, and she just kept on harping about it. And I told her that I'm not interested in going to church. You know, I mean, I go to church, but I'm not a fanatic or anything like that. But I was, back then I really didn't go to church back then. And she was trying to make me go to church, and I got a little flippant with her, and she made up some shit about me, and I got fired on my 28th birthday.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Because you wouldn't go to church with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's just like, as I said, I mean, these people claim that religious freedom means your right to oppress others. No, it doesn't mean that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the signs of a cult right there. Oh, you don't want to do what I want you to do in my religion, and you won't join me, then you're automatically excluded from everything around me.
You know what's my favorite little comeback from these people? America's supposed to guarantee us freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. I said, well, freedom from religion is part of what it means to be religiously free. It's all in one package. You as an individual got a choice. You do you, I do me, and everybody else do their own thing, and don't fuck with other people's rights.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, they're just crazy. Christians are crazy. All right, here comes mine. So yeah, no, I'm just going to show the video and just say really quick, like, I know California likes to say it's progressive and shit like that, but I get so really sick and tired of white women getting away with literal murder. So here we go.
Tonight, outrage growing after the sentencing of Bryn Spacer, after she was convicted of stabbing a man she was dating, Chad O'Melia, more than 100 times. This is video of her being taken out on a stretcher the night of the killing. This week, a judge sparing her from prison, sentencing her to 2 years of probation with 100 hours of THC education. The victim's father recalling the moment the sentence was read.
I told him straight away, right after he said it, I said, you just gave everybody in California that smokes marijuana a license to kill people.
The pair had been dating a few weeks when Spacer visited O'Melia's California home in May 2018. Experts during the trial said they were smoking marijuana when the drug caused Spacer to slip into a psychotic state, stabbing O'Melia with 3 different knives, a total of 108 times.
2 sheriff's deputies came to my home and they said, well, he's deceased. And then when I heard that, I literally collapsed. I dropped to my knees. And then the deputies said, well, we need to let his mother know. I said, you need to sit down for a minute. And now I can see that she's worried. And sorry. I looked her in the eye and I said, Michelle, Chad is dead. And, you know, just like you turn on and off a light switch, I could see in her eye that she broke.
Body camera from responding officers shows Spacer then stabbed herself with a 10-inch serrated knife, clipping her carotid artery. Sheriff's deputies tased her 4 times before rushing her to the hospital.
He found, this expert, prosecution expert, that Ms. Spacer was not able to be consciously or cognitively aware of what she was doing at the time of the stabbings. She was not an experienced user or knowledgeable about the potency of the marijuana that anybody can buy from a marijuana dispensary, or in this case, a marijuana delivery service. She had no clue at all.
This fall, prosecutors downgrading the original murder charges in the case to involuntary manslaughter due to what they said was Spacer's psychotic state at the time of the killing. She faced up to 5 years in prison until a Ventura County Superior Judge this week decided Spacer would not serve any time.
The law presumes that she will go to prison. The judge had to make the extraordinary finding that it was in the interest of justice, which is a specific finding, to not send her to prison. There was a strong verdict. And that this judge then gave her the benefit of the doubt beyond reason is very concerning and troubling to me as a career prosecutor.
Since the day I found out, I have not slept through a full night. Michelle, she got depressed, and a year and a half after we lost Chad, she died. I felt the system had failed Chad. Absolutely.
Such a sad and bizarre story. David Noriega joins us now from Los Angeles. David, does this really mean that others could use a marijuana defense moving forward in these types of cases?
Okay, I'm not going to listen to the rest because I can already tell you this is not going to set a precedence, because people of color who say this exact same thing are going to get off scot-free, or are going to do a lot more time than she is going to do, which she's not going to do any time. Obviously, she's only doing probation and some THC education. The problem with California is that we have this thing called Prop 46. Either Prop 46 or Prop 64 is a prop. We've had it forever, for as long as I can fucking remember. To where if you claim that you are on marijuana, you can get off a lot easier with whatever you've done, the crime that you've done. I honestly don't think that this was laced with anything. I think that she's just lying to get herself out of as much trouble. Obviously, it said she stabbed herself to make it probably look like it was a fight or something. Yeah, I know when I did a crime and I went to jail for it when I was like 19, 18 years old. I was sitting there talking to the public defender, and he was asking me if I had ever done any drugs or smoked marijuana, because I can actually get off a little bit easier than the charge that I had. Which I had never done any of that stuff before that time. So I told him no. And I ended up with the felony charge and, like all that crazy stuff that goes on with being convicted of a crime. Like she lied. She got off scot-free because she lied. I'm sorry. Unless you already have psychosis problems, weed usually, most of the time, 99.9999% of the time, is not going to do anything like that to somebody. unless you already have pre-existing conditions. But then if she did have pre-existing conditions, she probably would have been locked up in like, you know, a mental hospital for a little bit. And that probably would have been what she should be doing if she really did have a mental break or something, a psychosis break from marijuana.
Yeah, you know, I think about it. I think that this unfortunate situation with the murder, and I'm sorry for the death of that man's son. But here's the thing: I don't think that the pot was the reason for it, and I think that they're hyping it in a way to demonize cannabis in the way that they did, like what like what Cowboy Kitty said. Reefer madness. Fuck yeah.
Yep.
And,
In California.
Yeah, all places in California. And yeah, and here I am in North Carolina patiently waiting for the state legislature to legalize it the way they legalized it in Virginia. So I can have that baked cannabis lasagna that I've been obsessed about having.
Good. Yep.
And
Good.
do it legally. Do it legally. When that
But then
happens,
we got pretty little white girls like this that do this kind of shit and get away with murder. So that way politicians and other people can blame it on weed.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's ridiculous. And this is going to be one more thing that the right wing in this country are going to be like, oh, look what they can get away with in California. I mean, you know, it's not like that, but they're going to try to mold the argument that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure are.
Yeah. So, I guess probably the next story, Kyle Kalinske manages to put out a decent story at least once a week. I have noticed that. Maybe Crystal's not around him to influence him. I don't know. I think they'd be on the same side on this one. It's basically bombshell. Arizona GOP bill ends elections.
All right, let's get it going.
I think it's hyperbolic to say that I think the Republicans are getting more and more extreme by the day. And this bill really is the cherry on top in that conversation. So look at this. Proposed bill would give Arizona legislature authority to override the popular vote. An Arizona lawmaker wants to give the state legislature the power to appoint presidential electors regardless of who wins the popular vote. Currently, the candidate who wins the popular vote gets Arizona's electors. They then cast their votes on the same day in December alongside all the other electors across the country. Senate Concurrent Resolution 1014 would override that process entirely. Instead, the Arizona legislature would have the sole authority to appoint the presidential electors, regardless of which candidate actually received the most votes. The proposal comes from State Senator Anthony Kern. The Glendale Republican was a frequent figure in the attempt to overturn the 2020 election. He was among the lawmakers who signed onto a document falsely claiming to be one of Arizona's electors for former President Donald Trump. So it is very possible this guy is just literally a criminal. In fact, in the course of the investigations, maybe there's actually charges against him, that will be pursued in, say, the DC cases with Jack Smith. I don't know. But there's a lot of people who were duped into being a fraudulent elector, being involved in an illegal fake vote counting scheme. And there's a lot of people who knew that what they were doing was illegal and their intent was malicious. And maybe those people will suffer a different fate and have different consequences than the people who were just duped into it. But look at what we're talking about now, guys. Look at what we're talking about now. We are discussing basically not even having legitimate elections at all anymore. Now, you could argue the Electoral College is already anti-democratic enough. I think that's true. But this is a whole nother level of being anti-democracy. This is a whole nother level of authoritarianism. They want to be able to look at a situation, even in a scenario where a Democrat blows a Republican out of the water for the presidential election in the state of Arizona. They want to be able to look at that and say, we disagree. We're Republicans. We are going to pick the Republican to have won this state, even though they didn't. What other words am I supposed to use but authoritarian, tyrannical, dictatorial? What other words are there to use? This is like the textbook definition of that. But this is where we are. Every day, they get more and more extreme. Every single day. So the next time they want some sort of legal cover to be able to say Trump won, even if he didn't. All right, so now I want you guys to remember something. I think it was Arizona that they had like a massive recount effort after the fact because they were convinced, oh, Trump actually won this state, even though Biden won it. And then they did the recount and they found out Biden actually won by more votes than we thought he won by on election day. But there was a massive effort led by Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump in the 2020 election to basically pressure Arizona politicians to overturn the will of the people. And we have a great video on this that just came out. This guy, Rusty Bowers, who's kind of in charge of certifying the election in Arizona, he tells his story of the immense pressure that he was under. This is in the PBS Frontline documentary on this. And it really goes to show you just how nefarious and malicious the attempts were from Trump and Giuliani and Sidney Powell and the other Republicans who were trying to overturn the Democratic result of an election. Watch this.
For them to say to me, yeah, we just want you to throw out those electors and put in Trump. I'm thinking, have I gone to another planet? I mean, it's like, what? I'm not going to do that. I mean, I wanted him to win. Okay, so what? I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to cheat to win. What's that? I flat out said, you're asking me to break my oath. I swore an oath. I'm not going to break it. Period. Not going to break it. I said, well, if you're talking this, I got to have the proof. I said, Rudy, do you have the names of the dead people who voted? He goes, yes. And do you have the names of the 200,000 illegals who voted in our election? Yes. I said, I want those names. And the president says, Rudy, give the man what he wants. Give him what he wants. He says, yeah, we've got him, Mr. President. I'll get him to him. There was a row of people, and Giuliani and Jenna Ellis, I recognized them. And I sat down on the opposite side. I just said, did you bring me the proof? And he said, what? I said, do you remember our phone call when you said you were going to bring me the proof? And he said, oh, yeah. I said, did you bring it? And he turned to Jenna Ellis and he says, do you have the proof? And she said, yeah. Well, can we see it? She leans over and fumbles through her briefcase and says, oh, no, I don't have it here. It must be at the hotel room.
This meeting or at any other later time, did anyone provide you with evidence of election fraud sufficient to affect the outcome of the presidential election in Arizona?
No one provided me ever such evidence.
So now the goal here in Arizona that the Republicans are trying to bring to fruition is to make what happened with Trump legal. They want to be able to just override the will of the people. And they're not hiding it. They're not ashamed of it. They're upfront about it. They're upfront and direct about being authoritarian and being dictatorial and being tyrannical. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this is where we are. These are the conversations we're now having in this country. These are the bills that are being proposed. Should we end whatever semblance of democracy we have left? Absolutely grotesque and absolutely disgusting. And I have no words for it. I have no words for it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
I like the very end of that. I say we just fucking let this all go to shit. Like, we already, I mean, wasn't like the 2016 elections, didn't Hillary get like the popular vote or something like that? And Trump ended up winning anyway. So, I mean, this is just a state doing it now instead of the whole entire country. Like, we haven't known that this is, already been going on and probably will still continue going on. Look, volcanoparty.org. I'm done. I'm over it. Like, I'm over with this unfettered, capitalist, undemocratic, democratic system that we have. It's all corrupt and evil and too many loopholes. I'm done. I'm over it.
And both sides likes to sit there and accuse each other. The only election
Right.
fraud. I mean, the election fraud took place in Florida in 2000, and I don't even like Al Gore. But that was the biggest election fraud. It was so in people's face right there. And even in 2004, the voting machines in Ohio, they said, oh, you Democrats are a bunch of conspiracy theorists. But in 2020, they decided to take that Ohio voting machine and use that as, these voting machines were rigged in 2020 in Biden's favor, But they dismissed it when the Democrats said that about Ohio in 2004. But, when it comes down to, I find it also problematic to that Colorado decided to take him off the ballot, because I mean that's just what they needed to do before he left office. They needed to invoke the 25th Amendment and declare him incompetent. I don't know why they didn't. Well, I kind of know why they did it, because they figured he was going to run again and it was going to be easy to beat him. That's probably why. But honestly, they needed to invoke the 25th Amendment, and all this wouldn't even be an issue today.
Okay.
Yeah, to declare him incompetent, Trump incompetent. We wouldn't be discussing Arizona with their attempts to basically rig the elections, or Colorado Supreme Court rigging the elections on the other side, and both sides rigged the hell out of each other. I mean, there's always infractions in all elections. To say that only one side do this and the other side doesn't, I mean, that's mental.
I agree. I don't know about seeing if Trump is competent to be in office would be the answer. Because I don't think anybody that's really in political office is competent. I think anybody, this whole system's fucked, because even from the get-go, anybody that's running for office should not be taking lobbyist money, should not be investing in the stock market when they're the ones that are creating the laws and things that are going to happen. Like, just a lot of bull crap that we're already past the point of no return. Like I said, I think our only example right now is or our only solution right now is the volcano party. So shout out to Ed Heller out there if you're listening.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all this tit for tat and all of that. And when it comes to elections in general, nobody's more discriminated than third parties.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Very true.
That's the biggest fraud right there committed. Electoral fraud is against independents. They would do anything they can to avoid even a potential. I mean, they hated Ross Perot stepping into the picture. They hated, Ralph Nader. They hated, they hate the libertarians. They hate the Greens. They hate anybody that throws a monkey wrench and make things, spicier in an election.
Yep, I agree. All right, so I don't have any more, so I'm going to put up your last one as our last one.
Okay, that'll work. Let's see. Let's put up the Jimmy Dore one.
Wait, Jimmy Dore one.
Let's see. Is there one that calls your attention? I can put that up instead.
The Tim Black one.
Okay, let's do Tim Black then.
Okay, because I was wanting to talk about this, but I couldn't find a good person who talked about it. Okay. And I haven't seen this yet, so.
Explosive hot mic moment with Joy-Ann Reid dropping a bomb on Joe Biden.
Over the weekend, President Biden said he's ready to take action if Congress is serious about solving the border issue.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another fucking war. Still trying to kill the deal. He bragged about blocking progress and said, please blame him if it fails.
She later came back and apologized. You mean to tell me that Joy-Ann Reid has heart? Off camera, she has heart. Off camera, she says what she feels.
Right.
Off camera, she'll be a human being. That's what it is. That's what you get in cable news. The only time you're going to be real is when you're not online. And for being real, what does she do? What does she do for a moment of realness, of authenticity from longtime anchor Joy-Ann Reid? What does she do? Comes back and apologizes. You can't write this better. You can't write it better.
Before we go, I just want to apologize very quickly. I was chatting during a clip that was playing, and we try to keep this show very PG-13. So I just want to apologize to anyone who is listening to my behind-the-scenes chatter. Deeply, deeply apologize for that, because it's PG-13 up around here. So thank you to you all for watching the readout.
These spokesmodels are what they are. Paid spokesmodels, puppets, marionettes.
He ain't lying.
Skin jobs. Zombies. Sort of like that show where they were like robots Westworld, that's it. Westworld robots are what the media makes you be. You get a lot of money, but they turn you into something. And that's something that you are not. Now remember, this segment, just so people understand, this segment was about what's going on in Texas. Abbott wants to put razor wire up on the fences to further deter migrants. Joe Biden, who says there was no migrant crisis, now says there is a migrant crisis. And Greg Abbott, Republicans who want to run on this and run on it 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 and run on it. The Republicans have been running on immigration for the last 30 years. Every Republican race, they interject immigrants. If it ain't that, they're interjecting blacks. Every Republican race, they interject race or xenophobia. It's race or migrants. One of the two. One of the two. I don't know why we can't see it. It's every time. It's every cycle. It's the same story. Crime's too high, or it's migrants. Crime's too high, or it's migrants. You can set your watch to it. They say they have a crisis at the border and they want some type of bipartisan legislation to fix it, but they really don't, because Trump daddy said don't fix it. Trump daddy said we ain't gonna fix it right now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna let that thing sit, let it fester, let more people die, let more people go to jail, let more people do whatever they're gonna do. And I'll handle it when I get elected, because I'm gonna run on it and I'm gonna win. Running on what? Running on migration. There it is. See, this migration crisis is bubbling over, bubbling over, bubbling over. And Biden says he's going to address it. And there's legislation to do something about it. But the problem is, well, Republicans don't really want to do anything about it. They never wanted to do anything about it. They want to say they're going to do something about it so that people will vote for it. And now we got black people wanting to do something about it. We got white people wanting to do something about it. Man, they're showing more black people upset about migrants than they showed they were upset about police killings. The killings at the church when Dylan Roof shot down 8 parishioners. They're showing more pissed off black people now than ever before. But see, Joy Reid finally showed that she has a little bit of a humanness to her. There may be blood in those veins after all. And there I thought it was only Bitcoin, money, dollar signs floating through a bloodstream. So I thought she had, man. That's it. So what was Joy Reid referring to? Biden wants to start a war. Why? What's going on? Oh, the 3 soldiers in Jordan that were blown up, who were killed by the drone attack. 40 other officers, servicemen and women were hurt. 40 others. So Biden's trying to figure out if he wants to go to war over this. He doesn't. He don't want to mess with Iran.
Breaking news. Moments ago, President Biden confirms at least 3 Americans have been killed and 25 others injured in the Middle East. The attack happened last night on a U.S. outpost along the Syria-Jordan border. President Biden says they are still gathering more facts, but believe the attack came from a suicide drone launched from Syria.
I wouldn't put it past Joe Biden to start another war to try to stay in office. That's a tactic presidents use, They get in more war just as election time's coming up. Oh, no. Just so they can stay in office, because Americans, by and large, don't like switching presidents during international conflicts. So there's a reason why Joy Reid said that. But see, you got to care about this content. You got to care about getting the story right to even know that that's a historic fact about how our government operates. So, hey, hey, rookie mistake, right? So I applaud Joy Reid for feeling a certain kind of way. Now, applaud's a heavy word. I respect that she feels the way she feels, but I don't respect that she can't feel that way. She don't have the backbone to be that way all the time. There's a saying. What's that saying go? It says, if you ain't upset, you ain't paying attention. If you ain't angry, you ain't paying attention. So there's 2 things going on at one time, folks. We got Joy Reid talking about what's happening in Jordan with the officers, with the servicemen and women that were killed, how Joe Biden might want to go to war on that. He doesn't. And then we have the legislation, the bill, the negotiations on the border that's been up there. But they've been negotiating this for months now. Now it's stuck in the Senate because they can't make a deal because Republican senators say, nah, we don't want a deal. We don't want a deal right now because our daddy Trump said no. That's what I called him earlier, daddy. Because their daddy Trump said, don't you touch that deal or I'll get you kicked out of office. So for 5 years, I've been telling you that both parties suck. Both parties suck, Johnson. Come on, Johnson. Both parties suck. I've been telling you this for 5 years. I've been saying it for a reason. It's because it's true. It's true. They don't want to get the deal done because it's politics time. Oh, it's politics time. Gotta play the game. Gotta play the game. It's politics time.
Is he for
That's
real
what
right
they're
now?
doing. They're playing politics while people are dying. And while they're gaslighting you at home about how crazy things are, while they're gaslighting you, they're not trying to really get the job done. You understand? You understand? All right.
Deeply, deeply apologize for that because it's PG-13 up around here.
Warren.
So that's the reason for the F-bomb drop by Joyanne Reed. Here's the kicker. Her apology shows she ain't nothing but a robot, like I said. You don't apologize when you're right. But see, Joyanne Reed ain't going to mess up her money fighting to end wars, fighting to feed the poor, and nothing of the like. That's not what she's here to do. She's here to pick up her paycheck, keep her show alive, and stay on the airwaves. So we say, why can't we have nice things? Because we got a bunch of sellout cable news people who have 2 faces, 3 faces, many faces, okay? The only one you get to see is the phony. Good job, Joy Reid. Well done. Congratulations. And if you want to know just how horrible it is, make the mistake I did and go to TYT and look at all the racists in the comments section clowning Joy Reid for her looks and saying she's unqualified to do the job she's been doing for the past 10 years. And that's why I'm so happy to be an independent contractor, an independent media person, an independent voter, an independent man, a man who stands on his own 2 feet, 10 toes down, does his own thing, because I'll be damned if I would be running scared, apologizing for saying how I really feel about something. All right, my name is Tim Black, and this has been
Interesting. He is a fucking character.
I mean, he makes me. I was. Yeah, I like what he has to say, but he's so comical. That's the way to. He's got a unique way of expressing himself. But he's right. Both parties suck. Johnson.
They very much do, and he's also right with the fact that Joy Reid can say that kind of stuff behind the scenes on a hot mic by accident, but can't say it right there on the news. Like, I mean, technically what's happening at the southern border right now with, the National Guard and the state troopers and how they feel about it, like it could pop off, something could happen all because of migrants coming to America because of the horrible policies and sanctions and things we put on other countries to where they feel like they need to come here. America, since the day it was born, even on our statue has, bring your poor, your weak, things like that. There is this, people in other countries that haven't been to America still believe in this American dream and that America is better. We do this to ourselves. We pump it out there that we're the best fucking country in the world. But then when people we do horrible things to the other people's country and they try to come here to get a piece of that, this is what happens. We do this. And then we make it political, which he's right about as well, with Trump saying, no, we can't do anything with the border until I become president. Which is stopping Republicans from doing anything at the border, which is their top 1 priority usually anyways, just to help Trump win. And then also at the same time, we Democrats sit there and AOC went and cried at the border because of the way that the people were being treated. And Democrats say that, we need to let these citizens in and stuff. But then Biden comes out with a bill with both parties saying that I'll close the border down right now, like completely close. He said it himself on an interview on a podium, saying that he'll shut the border down like that moment. So they're both. You're right. They both fucking suck because they're both turning this into a politic thing, even though the real solution is to stop putting sanctions and ruining other countries.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, both the Democrats and Republicans, they want to keep the status quo to campaign on. They want to let it fester and nothing gets done. And something needs to be done. I mean, we need an amnesty program. We need to have a foreign policy to stop intervening and making life miserable in other countries. But here's the mentality of the United States. We're going to go and do what we want to Latin America or the Middle East, and we're going to make life really difficult on them, but they better not come here to the United States. We don't want them. So it's just kind of like, it is crazy. And the thing about it is, Tim Black actually accomplished giving her a compliment, closest thing to a compliment, because he's never been a fan of Joanne Reed. I mean, with good reason. She's a Clintonista. I mean, she's tied in with the corporate, the really obnoxious corporate wing of the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that totally. I completely forgot. That kind of pisses me off about Joy Reid. Is like a few years ago, wasn't she like? Did she get in trouble for giving the questions to Hillary Clinton ahead of the interview or something, so that way she can answer them properly, like ahead of the debate or something like that?
No, I think it was somebody else, and I can't think of her name. I cannot think of her name. So it was somebody else.
It was somebody else. Wasn't Joanne Reid a part of something like that had to do with Hillary?
Was one telling everybody how Bernie Sanders make her skin crawl on MSNBC.
Okay. So so there's just something that pisses me off about her is like, yeah, you're completely right. Like, even behind the scenes through this hot mic, she obviously knows that, starting another fucking war, she knows like how shitty and horrible these politicians are. But in front of the screen, she's going to sit there and still do the status quo. Like that shit.
Yeah. And the name is Donna Brazile.
Donna Brazile.
Yeah. That leaked the questions to Hillary Clinton. Yeah.
Okay.
And she's kind of obnoxious too, but the thing about it, yeah, I mean, as I said, Joanne Reid, I mean, and probably not just her. There's probably a lot of other people. They know what's up, and they know they have to play a part. They know they have a role to play if they, want their millions and to be in the cocktail parties and to live the good life. They know they have to play ball.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Like I said, volcanoparty.org.
Yep. Pretty much. So
I'm so over it.
Anyway, it's getting closer to the hour. So you have any plans?
Just gonna tomorrow night, obviously, we've got the secret show with Warren, so go check us out there. I'm not sure if my Twitch is going to be streaming it because it didn't last week. I don't know what's going on, why it keeps not streaming it. It's being weird. So just go check out Warren's channel at Extra Booyah over on YouTube. And then just keep an eye out for my channel. I streamed like 3 times this week, so I'm trying to do it a little bit more often, get some hours in, start streaming some new things, different things, same old things, whatever I feel like streaming. But I'm doing it more often and more regularly now, so.
Me too. Lately, I've been forcing myself to do this. So I have a live stream planned tomorrow, I believe at 5 p.m. and one Sunday at 2 p.m. It's subject to change because you never know. But right now, it looks like if everything goes right, it'll be on schedule. So so there is that, and let's see what else. I guess until next week, there'll be another episode 20 of Braggland. So I want to make a announcement to everybody in the audience here. If you haven't subscribed to the Braggland channels, that's Braggland Show on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel. Help make this channel grow. I appreciate y'all watching it. Maybe I'm the Willie Bragg Show channel or the Twitch and what have you. But please also subscribe to the YouTube channel itself, Braggland. That's Braggland Show. There's that. And I guess we better say, if there's nothing else, I guess we could say goodbye to everyone.
Yep. All right, you all. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out, keeping it lively in the chats. We appreciate you, and we will see you all next week. All right, stay high.
Stay high. And free Assange, free Palestine, free healthcare, and free speech.
There you go.